Our guest now is Dr. Alex Chong, Associate Professor in Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Welcome to you. First of all, can you give me a bit of an overview of the MSc courses that are available in both Electrical and Electronic Engineering and how students can determine which is the right course for them?
Thank you for having me here. On our standard one-year MScs, we have three key specialist areas that students can choose from. The first one is our Electronic Communication and Computer Engineering, which focuses on the design of electronic circuits and also the application of advanced programming language then in electronic devices, including communication-based systems. So that's the first one. The second one then is our Electrical Engineering-based MScs, which is related to the generation of electrical power, transmission over long distances, distribution, storage, and ultimately consumption. Key aspects of the second course then also include how we can use conventional sources sustainably, and then also related to the use of renewable energy generation. And then the last one then is our mix of electrical and electronic engineering MSc, whereby students can effectively choose technical modules from both groups, electrical and electronic, effectively enabling them then to tailor their MScs to suit their needs and interest. Okay.
And what is it about the University of Nottingham that is the ideal place to study these courses?
Okay. Our students learn from world-class researchers. They study on our award-winning campuses using state-of-the-art facilities, and supported by really is a very dedicated team of professional colleagues. So I can think of multiple reasons why people should make Nottingham their first choice to study. And as a top Russell Group universities, we have three strong research teams within the department. So the first one is our optics and photonics team, and they develop devices for the healthcare industry. We have our George Green Electromagnetic Research Group, and they basically involve in the latest in terms of wireless communication, chip-to-chip wireless communication. And then finally, our Power Electronics and Machine Control Center, and they are perhaps one of the largest research centers on the planet, developing technologies that will allow electric vehicles to go further, for example, developing technologies that will enable us then basically to harvest more energy from solar photovoltaics and wind turbines, Yeah.
And how is it that the course is structured? Is there a balance between theoretical knowledge and practical hands-on experience?
So our courses are all accredited by the Engineering Council. So it meets the standards stipulated by the professional body when it comes to an engineering qualification. The course is arranged so that the students pick up lab skills right at the very start, so effectively preparing them for the project work. Across the autumn term, then we develop the communication skills. We work with our Center for English Language Education for that. They have to prepare a business proposal to a client. So they come together as a group. They have to think about a solution to a problem that we give them. So the last example is how will they automate the tram network in Nottingham. So effectively preparing a business case or sales pitch, if you like, to the Nottingham City Council, and looking not just within the technical aspects, but is there a business case, and how long is a payback period, for example, safety aspects, environment when it comes to energy consumption and things like that. So it's really about preparing them for work in real life. So that's the autumn term, one of the key things that we do with them. And then in the spring term, then basically they work on developing the project. So they don't wait all the way until June before they start working on the project. But in the spring, they meet with the supervisors, they develop the aims, they look at the objectives. If there's anything which they need to purchase in front, up ahead, and a risk assessment, they do that there and then, before they can hit the ground running effectively in June. So it's about preparing our students for work as an engineering society when they graduate from us. Yeah.
And what are some of the, when you go out into the real world, what are some of the careers that are open to postgraduate students, and what do people typically do when they graduate?
Yeah. So we have graduates working for a range of companies. So those with the electronic communication and computer engineering background, they would work for example, companies like Huawei, Xiaomi, designing chip, for example, for these tech companies. Those who enter companies relating to the generation of electrical energy, utility companies, so EDF Renewables is one, McDonald Consultancy Company, the National Grid, for example. We do have a lot of overseas students on our PGT courses, so those in China, for example, with Shanghai Electric Corporation, the National Grid in the country. So it's electrical engineers, project managers, for example, software developers for the tech companies, and also Tesla, not forgetting Tesla, especially students with a triple E background. Yeah.
And what is something that you enjoy the most about being involved in engineering at the university?
Yeah, I guess the one that gives me greatest satisfaction is to see my students, walk up on stage to receive the diploma from my dean. But it really is, I work with a very dedicated team of colleagues. As a subject, we are one of the best in the country. We provide support to students. So it's about basically supporting them, teaching them, mentoring them, so that when they finish with us, they can realize their full potential and then graduate as a Nottingham alumni, So that, I would say, is the best thing for me, yeah.
And is this a course that is open to international students? And if so, what is the support that's available to them whilst they're doing their postgraduate studies?
Yeah, it's a very good question. With international students, a vast majority of our students are from overseas. And so it's, I guess it's a question of improving the confidence in terms of using English, because English is the language of the course, improving the ability then to help them analyze problems, connects the dots, so to speak, preparing coursework, not just the examination, and then undertaking a very large piece of individual project work in the summer. And that's why the spring project development module in from February all the way till about May really does help them a lot, yeah. Settling them, provide them with the confidence, communication skills, technical abilities, not just the knowledge, but also skills in the lab, so that they can do well. Yeah.
And who is this course for in terms of what undergraduate degrees someone has done? What can their background be in order to take this on?
So somebody with a telecommunication background, so to do with, antennas, to do with communication, wireless communication, for example, might consider our electronic communication and computer engineering. Somebody with a generic electrical and electronic might consider MSc in triple E. So those who wish to work for an automated manufacturing companies producing EVs, for example, Tesla, then perhaps a triple E would be a suitable match. Those who are interested in working for utility companies, electrical energy production, solar PVs, wind power, then the electrical-based MSc would be suitable. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That was very, very useful information. And thank you so much for joining us today.